It takes a lot for school divisions to tell their students not to come to school for a day of learning. But that's exactly what happened today as teachers around Saskatchewan took a stand. Our Callum Hawker with more.
Teachers across Saskatchewan are taking a stand against the government as they are fighting hard for what they believe is right for both them and for their students.
So today's a day to take kind of some initial action to say to the government that enough is enough. The over decade of chronic underfunding has eroded the education system and is not allowing school divisions and schools and teachers to provide the proper resources and support that students need.
Armstrong stated that teachers didn't go into the profession to fill their pockets. However, when students are arriving at school hungry and with a lack of support, they feel that it's their main concern to help out, and they won't just simply go away after the one-day protest.
Right now it's a one-day thing. I guess you could think of it as a warning shot. The Federation also chose to do a 5-day countdown prior to this day of action, so it gave school divisions lots of notice, families lots of notice, but also was a warning to the government to say, hey, we're ready and willing to come back to the table. We always have been.
Over 550 teachers joined the strike today, bearing the extreme cold weather to support their fellow students, fellow colleagues, and other staff members around the province.
We're showing the community that education is in a crisis. We need some support, and the community's been awesome. Lots of honks, people dropping off coffee, and it's been a great day.
While the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation has stopped school for the day during the strike, that hasn't stopped local students from joining in on the stand and even keeping the teachers warm.
More funding for the schools would really help them a lot. I feel like with more funding, they could do a lot more in their classes, and they could experiment more and just help out more students, you know?
The stand may continue if negotiations and a new contract have yet to be met. Callum Hawker, Primetime Local News.
Construction is well underway for Lloydminster's new arena, the Cenovus Energy Hub. The city reviewed the first quarterly update at its council meeting. Funding efforts continue as the foundational work begins for the new arena. The city aims over the next years to use more local contractors throughout the project.
Hub is moving forward. We're still in the business of raising some funds, both locally as well as still trying to secure some government funding. Work is progressing. It was great to see the list of contractors that have been awarded work, some discussion around local contractors receiving work.
A key way Lloydminster is looking to raise funds is through sponsorship opportunities, including naming rights for certain parts of the facility.
Opportunities for sponsorship and advertising on various items, and you'll be hearing more from our community. The community will hear more from us regarding that through the committee if they're interested in putting their name somewhere in that building on a permanent basis.
The total cost for the Cenovus Energy Hub is sitting at $101 million. With the extreme cold weather recently, Lloydminster has been seeing many people booking flights to somewhere warmer. But which destinations are most popular for people in our city? According to Lambert Travel, some of the most visited destinations this time of year are Jamaica, Antigua, and the Bahamas. People flock to these places with travel numbers boosting up to pre-pandemic levels.
As soon as the last of those COVID travel restrictions lifted, it exploded. People were not allowed to leave for so long that as soon as they could leave without the extra testing and requirements of COVID, they were anxious to go.
Lambert also has some advice on how to make your travel plans as smooth as possible.
All airlines have apps. They have ways to notify you of cancellations and delays. They have flight status managers on their websites. So make sure you are checking in for your flights virtually online or via an app 24 hours prior.
Pets are also being affected by this cold weather. So we spoke to an expert to give owners some tips and advice to keep your pets safe and warm. Dr. Becky Newman of Lloyd Animal Hospital encourages owners to use warm jackets for dogs during walks, as well as providing both cats and dogs an insulated water bowl and doubling the amount of food during the cold snap.
they're going to burn off calories more quickly. So I think providing them a little bit more food in the cold weather if they're going outside, and a food that's got a higher energy or a fat source in it is probably recommended.
Dr. Newman also adds that pet owners should visit a local veterinarian if you are worried or unsure about the medical condition of your pets.
Hypothermia or frostbite in your pet, please just give us a call. We can always give you some advice and direction on what to do for your pet, and if they need to come in for an examination, we're always happy to help you with that.
As we find ourselves in this coldest part of the winter so far, the Lloydminster Fire Department has some recommendations to keep your home and family safe. I spoke earlier today with the fire department to get some insight on potential problems.
I am speaking with Assistant Fire Chief Christopher Hill today, and we're just talking about with the recent cold snap, how people need to be a little bit more cautious with things like their furnace vents, maybe doing some routine maintenance on your furnace if you have one. What are some things you would recommend people do during this extremely cold weather?
Yeah, it's been quite cold recently. So we first off recommend that everybody has a CO detector on every floor of their home. You can buy combination alarms, which are CO and smoke detectors all in one. So with the appliances like furnaces, they can emit CO, which is colorless, odorless, and tasteless. And it actually gives off the same symptoms as having the flu. Sometimes people can, be confused, nauseous, that kind of thing. So having a CO detector is a really important way to be able to detect that gas. And then the vents that protrude that gas outside of your house, sometimes the vents can ice up and create like a cone and actually push that CO back into your home. So we always recommend that you go outside every few days and just check to make sure that that CO hasn't been trapped in that ice cone and isn't coming back inside of your house, and just to clear the ice and the snow away from those vents to make sure it's venting out as it should properly. And then, as with any furnace or wood stove, just annually having it checked by a qualified technician and cleaned as well is really important.
So a lot of people also use their basements as storage space, and I think maybe around gas furnaces and such, that's probably not the best idea. Is there a recommendation around that?
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Yeah, like you say, people kind of, Christmas time or, different holiday occasions, they have all their decorations and all their storage stuff underneath the, staircase or in their service rooms. But, some storage is okay. But we always recommend that you have at least a 3-foot distance between electrical panels, hot water tanks, furnaces. And that's just to, let these things operate as they should. And, should anything arise as well, you're not going to have anything that's too close to catch any radiant heat, or if anything had any sparks coming out of it.
Just on the note of carbon monoxide detectors, what should a person do if their carbon monoxide detector goes off and says that levels are a bit high? What's the recommendation there?
Yeah, so immediately vacate your house and call 911. Our crews are on shift 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They're always happy to, serve the community of Lloydminster. Even if you're not sure of the sound that it's making, if you think it's a low battery, if your alarms are beeping at all for any reason, it's best to just call 911 if you're really unsure. And our crews will be there and we'll be there to come help you out.
I'm sure a lot more people are using space heaters and that kind of thing. Have you had many calls to deal with that, or have people been pretty safe with them so far?
Yeah, it's been the holiday season was a fairly good season for fire statistics, which was really nice to see. But it is always good to put out a reminder, especially you talk about those space heaters and those appliances. So the first thing we like to recommend is that people are using CSA or ULC approved appliances. That you'll find the stamp on the appliance. So go to your Canadian Tires or your Walmarts and buy the stuff that's approved. We don't recommend that you buy these appliances off Amazon and coming from different countries that aren't approved appliances. So what can happen with those is the wires or the mechanisms inside can actually break down, and they do frequently cause fires and they get recalled. So it's really important that people are using these appliances appropriately, as well as keeping a kid-free and a pet-free zone around your space heaters so that they don't tip them over and can cause a fire that way. And then also too, with you plugging in your space heaters, not to overload your circuits. So if you're using a power bar, don't plug power bars into power bars, and make sure that you're not overloading those power bars for what they're rated for. And using the ones with the surge protectors are really important as well, because if there is a power surge, or you did overload it, they will shut themselves down, and they're much more safe. So.
All right, Christopher, those are my only questions for you today. Is there anything else that I may not have asked that you might want to add?
Yeah, just a couple more safety points. So we know with the holiday season kind of that just passed, kids may have new electronics that they're plugging in. So, tablets, cell phones, electronics. We just want to remind people not to cover those things up with blankets or putting them underneath their pillows. They can heat up, and those chargers will actually cause a fire. We do see that. So there's a really important point there. Just making sure everyone has checked their smoke alarms, making sure they've changed their batteries. They do have a working smoke alarm on every floor. And then just another kind of occurrence we've seen a lot recently, if anyone's in an apartment building or owns a business here in town, if your fire alarm is going off for the apartment or your business there, just not to reset your own fire alarm panel, and that the fire service is the only personnel that are authorized to kind of reset the fire alarm panel. So if your fire alarm is going off, please call 911 immediately. Our crews are always available 24/7, 365, and they'll be there to help reset your alarm panel.
Christopher, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Much appreciated.
Abby St. John joins me now, and it looks like we're turning a bit of a corner with the weather.
Yes, it's very good news, actually. The extreme cold warning has been lifted in all of Saskatchewan, most Alberta, so everywhere, in this region in central Alberta is completely good. It's been lifted. Anything really north of Athabasca, the cold warning's still in effect. South of Banff and west of Banff and into BC, still under that warning. But here, we're good. All of Saskatchewan is good. Still cold, but not as cold as what we saw. That wind chill isn't as bad. Minus 18 currently here in Lloydminster, but it does feel a little bit cooler with that wind chill at minus 26, 13 kilometer per hour winds, but definitely we get a little breather from the extreme cold for sure, which is very nice, and it is going to get warmer as we get into next week as well. Current temperatures across Alberta, minus 16 in Provost and Edmonton, minus 18 in Wainwright and St. Paul, minus 17 in Vermilion, Vegreville and Cold Lake, minus 19 in Marwayne, Bonnyville and Lac La Biche. On the Saskatchewan side, minus 21 up in Isle La Crosse, minus 18 in Pierceland, minus 16 in Green Lake, minus 17 in Meadow Lake. St. Walburg is sitting at minus 19, minus 15 in Macklin, and minus 20 in Maidstone and out in North Battleford. Overnight tonight in North Battleford will drop down to minus 24, breezy in the evening, around 20 kilometer per hour winds. Otherwise, it'll just be quite cloudy out. So expect cloudy conditions overnight tonight. And then tomorrow, a daytime high of minus 20, very cold with considerable cloudiness. So expect a very overcast day out tomorrow. It'll most likely feel a little bit colder than that minus 20 with the wind chill, as winds are coming in at 15 kilometers per hour. And then overnight tonight in Cold Lake, it will drop down to minus 24, mainly cloudy, and there's about a 74% chance of some snow at times, accumulating about a centimeter of 2 that will carry over. And the wind will be at 15 kilometers per hour. And then tomorrow, a daytime high of minus 20, mostly cloudy skies, but there will be some sun throughout the day, which is always nice to see. 13 kilometer per hour winds. It's still going to feel a little bit cold as well, so definitely be prepared for that. And then tonight here in Lloydminster, we'll drop down to minus 24, 22 kilometer per hour wind, so it will be breezy this evening. Otherwise, it will be also quite cloudy as well. And then tomorrow, just to break down the day, it will remain mostly cloudy throughout the entirety of the day. -24 around 6 a.m., 20-kilometer-per-hour winds. And then around noon, midday, the wind will slow down just a little bit to 17 kilometers per hour, and it will be -22. -23 around 6 p.m. in the evening, 11-kilometer-per-hour winds. And then at around midnight, it will be -26, mostly clear, which will be nice. And then tomorrow and then the next 3 days, a high of -20, a low of -28. On Thursday, it's going to feel a little bit frigid out with a high of -21 and a low of -27. And then on Friday, mostly cloudy with a high of -18 and a low of -23. That's a first look at your evening weather forecast. I'll have more overnight temperatures later on in the show.
Welcome back. Lakeland College has received a generous donation of $1 million from one of its local alumni. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
Today I'm happy to be joined by Georgina Altman, the Vice President of External Relations and Infrastructure at Lakeland College, and she is here today to talk about a big donation they received last week. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Georgina.
Thanks for having me.
And so Bill Robinson, the man who made this donation, was an alumnus of Lakeland College. Talk to me about his time here at Lakeland College, as well as why he wanted to make such a generous donation to the college.
Bill Robinson is an alumnus of ours. So he graduated from our agriculture program in 1958 and later came back to college in 1988 and did some electrician training as well. So he's got a long history here. And in fact, his dad is a graduate of ours too. He was a graduate in 1927. And Bill's mom was dean of women for about a 3-year stint back in that time frame as well. So he's got a long history with Lakeland and has been someone who's been really active with our students and provided awards in the past and then those kind of things as well. So I'd say that why he wanted to do this, he's been involved with Lakeland for a long time. I'm really proud of the work that we do in the agriculture sector and his own involvement here too. And so when he had an opportunity to provide what I'd say is like a transformational gift and that real leave that legacy piece, he was really excited to do that and wanted to see what he could do in his lifetime to make an impact at Lakeland. So it was really an exciting time for him and for us. One of the cool things about his gift is he's really a humble guy. So we had a presentation with him last week, and we had about 100 students there to thank him and be part of that celebration. And he immediately started talking about the stock market and how over his many years, how he just for many years worked with that, and that's how he generated the wealth to pay for this. Actually, is what he utilized to make this gift. So that was kind of a nice message for the students about saving your money and being thoughtful about how you invested your funds over your lifetime. So that was a good message. He is a farmer too, and he said that he had that, but it was really this is the other part of it. But we wanted to name some space after him, and he actually deferred that and named it after his parents. So we were able to have a lecture theater named after Lal and Annabelle, his parents, which was kind of cool.
And so he donated $1 million. What is that money going to be going towards?
So really a substantial gift. So half of that is going into a long-term endowment fund, which will fund scholarships going forward for ever, basically. So we'll start. The first one will be awarded next year. So we're really excited to do that. The other half is going towards our beef programs. So we're in the midst of doing a full master plan and kind of modernization and upgrades of our farm, and really setting ourselves up for the next 30 years. We've got a 30-year history with our farming. And so we'll use that other $500,000 to support some of the beef infrastructure that will be on the farm, and that will be starting in the next 6 to 12 months. We'll get going on that.
And so, Georgina, tell me about the $500,000 that is going to be going towards the scholarship fund here, and just what's a little bit different about these scholarships compared to most usual scholarships.
So what we find is that actually donors tend to give awards to specific programs or areas and do that kind of thing. So that is quite normal. So his focus is the Vermilion campus, which is where he went to school. So he likes to support students on this campus. So any donor who's giving towards our awards program, we tend to talk about which program is important to them, if there is one. Are they more focused on, academic excellence, supporting students in need from a bursary, affordability standpoint, leadership, those kind of things. And so we worked through all those things with Bill to come up with what was important for him, and to focus on students who really needed that support on the Vermilion campus to be successful in their studies and their academics. What was great is we had a couple of students share their stories about what a difference having that support from donors and the awards program makes to them and their ability to be successful at school. And it was very heartwarming, and just very authentic to hear what their real experience was, and how that freed them up to be successful at school, and then support other students in their efforts as well. So it was really a great moment.
Thank you so much for all the information today, Georgina, and I definitely look forward to seeing all of the new improvements that is going to be coming to the agriculture program at Lakeland College, as well as all of the new students that will be able to go to Lakeland College due to the scholarships.
Thank you very much.
Now time for a look at all of the pet photos you've been sharing with us for our Pets of the Day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
I'm back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for another edition of Pet Project, and today we have this gorgeous dog named Mahone, and he is an absolute sweetheart. He truly is, but he is a little bit of a nervous Nelly, if you will.
So a little bit.
Tell me a little bit about his story, how he came here, and a bit about his personality.
So Mahone came to us as a stray, if you can believe it. He was found out near a shop outside of Lloydminster, so we had hoped that maybe an owner had just lost him off their farm or as their shop dog or something, but no one has claimed him. He doesn't have a microchip, so he has been with us since the end of November and now is looking for a home. As you can see, he's very loving, very much the gentle giant. And we haven't cat tested him, but I don't see any concerns with cats. He seems pretty calm around them and not fixated when we're passing the kennels, at least. And he definitely needs a home with another dog. He really enjoys the company of other dogs, so we're hoping maybe someone that has another one, come here, bud, good boy, will adopt him so that he's got a buddy to hang out with. When he came in, he was really nervous of men, so the people who originally found him actually had to get the women at the shop to help bring him in because he was so nervous about guys that he doesn't know. But as you can see, he's warmed up, and with some training or someone that can socialize him in a positive way, he's definitely going to come out of his shell around men as well. So yeah, hoping that we can find somebody that's going to put in a little bit of time, but as you can see, like, he's a really sweet dog, and I think he'll make a really nice addition to someone's family.
And he's very well behaved. I know that you were doing some training with him earlier before we got started here, and he, you know, with a little bit near the end, he was like, okay, let's wrap this up. But you know, he was really taking to your commands very well and answering to them, and you know, he did get more comfortable over time, especially with our camera guy, as he, you know, he went right up to the camera a couple times. So it just takes a little bit of time, I think.
And
but
very food motivated, as you can see too. He'll do anything for a treat.
Now, you mentioned earlier that he would make a perfect farm dog or, you know, bigger space. Would that be something that you would recommend for a family with, you know, maybe not on a farm, but someone with a giant yard?
Yeah, and I mean, I think he'd be okay in town too, but he just seems laid back enough that I'm not as concerned about him, you know, having to be watched all the time and that kind of thing. He seems pretty well-rounded. He's got a coat that allows him to be outside as long as he's got proper shelter still when it's crazy cold like this. Can you sit? Good boy. But yeah, really nice dog, very sweet temperament. I do believe he'd be good with kids too, as long as they're respectful of his space and everything, maybe older kids just because of his size, but no aggression issues that we've noticed or anything, and seems like a really sweet natured guy with a good start on his obedience.
Which is amazing, and I mean it's shown, and he never showed any aggression. A little bit of nervousness,
hesitation
little
with the
hesitation, but he warmed up pretty fast to me, especially, and then slowly over the last few minutes, he's slowly started to warm up in general. You know, like you mentioned, his tail wasn't tucked anymore, which is great. Now, going off of training, we are in the multi-purpose room, and you had mentioned that you wanted to kind of showcase for experienced volunteers to maybe come in and help train some of the dogs or just get their stimuli up because of how cold it's been lately.
Yeah, so we kind of have set it up in here with toys. In the drawers, we've got some donated dog puzzles and treat dispensing toys as well, just to give the dogs some enrichment. And it's hard, just like your own dogs at home, when it's this cold, you know, they get bored, they can get destructive, they start to get anxiety. So we want to be able to bring them somewhere and give them an outlet and give them some mental stimulation, especially during these cold days that we're having. So we're really hoping that we can get some more volunteers now that we're open our regular hours again and the cat kennels are set up. We're hoping to get in a lot of experienced volunteers that can come in and kind of do what I've been doing with him and the other dogs, so that we can lure them, teach them that sitting is more rewarding for them than jumping up, and give them some good obedience commands to make them more adoptable too.
Which is it's going to be more, it's a lot more beneficial in the long run, especially. And you know, like you said, it really just, without being able to go outside or going for long walks, you know, they'll get restless, and it maybe also regress their training that they already have. So I think this is a perfect idea to, you know, keep their stimuli up and also their training up as well. Now, are you in need of any specific donations?
Not really. We're doing pretty good. I mean, I mentioned the puzzles, so we're always looking for more treat dispensing toys and heavy duty toys that the dogs can chew on and not destroy or eat. But we've gotten a lot of donations in the last week. Bev Lorenz brought in a whole bunch more big chews and stuff from Pet Pad, so that was awesome, just to give them something to chew on and get that outlet as well. But yeah, we're doing quite good with donations. The only thing I can think of is maybe some more puzzles for the big dogs, and maybe some martingale collars, that kind of thing for training. And we're always using slip leads lots. But yeah, other than that, we've been very fortunate, and the community has really stepped up. So our shelves are stocked right now. So we're very lucky.
And I'm sure that's exactly what everybody wants to hear.
Yes.
Especially, and it's wonderful, and not at all surprising either.
Yes, our community is pretty awesome.
Yeah, especially with you guys, it's fantastic. So that's great that you know, you're not in desperate need of any specific donations, which is amazing. So thank you so much for joining me. And Mahone is truly the sweetest boy, and he would make a fantastic companion to really any household. So thank you for joining me, and Mahone, he's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
We are here with two of the trio known as Petrick. We are here with Jason and Tom, and we are so excited to have you on today because you just came out with a brand new song called Over a Girl. Before we talk about that, how are you? How is your 2024 starting off? I see you're down in Mexico.
Yeah, we definitely are starting the year off right. We're down in Mexico for a country concert excursion, I guess, however you want to call it. So we're down here with Tebe for the week, playing a few concerts, and it's we just got here and the sun's out, not a cloud in the sky, so it's gonna be a good week.
Oh man, you guys are doing a lot better than we are up here in Alberta. We are very cold. So I wish I was down there in Mexico with you, but that is so fun. What are some of your favorite fun in the sun activities? What do you like to do on the beach?
Well, I absolutely got drenched by the kids like about 30 minutes ago in the kid pool. So that's pretty fun.
Tom plays in the kid pool.
Jason, what about you?
You know what? When I go to different places, and we were just down in Australia a month and a bit ago, about a month ago. I love seeing places. So I like exploring and doing excursions, and if there's hikes or trails or different beaches, that's kind of my thing. So hopefully we get a little bit of everything this trip, and I think we will. So it should be good.
Well, it sounds like you two have a great time down there happening this week, playing some concerts, playing in the kid pool, going on some adventures. Can you please send some warmth to us? We would greatly appreciate that.
We'll bring something back.
Wonderful. Well, you guys are also kicking off your new year with a brand new single called Over a Girl. But before we get there, I feel like this is the start of a lot of new things happening for you in 2024. Are you able to talk about some of the things you guys got going on for this year?
Yeah, we did want to start off with music. We really haven't released any new music, and specifically to Canada for our Canadian fans in a long time. It's been well over a year. We did kind of do a little bit of a remix on our song "Single Problem," but that was a little bit more tailored to Australia, so kind of new but not super new. So this is exciting for us. It just came out today. This is the first song as a band that we wrote, and we didn't co-write it with anybody else. We took this one as a band. So I like that. I'm pretty proud of that. I think that's when you're an artist and you're looking to always push yourself to new limits. That was something we're pretty proud of. We hope everybody likes it. I think it's going to go over great in our live shows. It's upbeat. It's fun. It's all about love.
It is such a good song. I've had it on repeat this morning. I've played it 3 times already just here in the studio. With everything else going on, it is so catchy. So tell us a bit about the story behind it. It is about love.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I was witnessing in life was like all the crazy things, and I think everyone's guilty, but all the crazy things you do when you're kind of falling for somebody. So I kind of had this idea in my brain about all these things you do over a girl, and that's kind of how it started. And I guess maybe the next little funny thing is I really did kind of come up with the hook of this song while playing guitar while my child was having a bath. So maybe I gotta give a shout out to my son Presley. Maybe he should get a little bit of co-writing credit on this. But it's a fun song. I don't think it's super complex, but it's fun. It's very truthful, and we're having a fun time playing it.
It's a really, really fun song. And I know everyone down there in Mexico is going to be so excited to hear you play it. And that song, Over a Girl, is available wherever you buy, download, or stream your songs right now. And Petrick can be followed on all social media platforms and, of course, on your website. Jason, Tom, thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything else you want to mention or talk about?
You're the best. So thank you so much. We appreciate all the support and all the love, and we are going to wish some warm weather your way.
Thanks, guys. Have fun in Mexico.
All right. See you later. Thank you so much.
Well, the frigid temperatures are not just forcing people to stay inside. Even penguins find this kind of weather too cold. The 12th annual Penguin Walk at the Calgary Zoo had to be postponed, and it will depend on the weather and the birds' desire to go out when it will take place. The temperature must be between +5 and -25, and the wind cannot be excessive.
That's interesting, considering penguins are from very, very extreme cold temperatures, but it makes sense if they're in Canada, they've become accustomed to our type of frigid temperatures, so it's understandable. But it is funny that even it's too cold for penguins to go outside, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. And it's been plenty icy. I think a lot of us have been walking a
Yes.
little bit like penguins too.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for joining us tonight. That's all we have for you. Have a great evening.